Joining us today for this Facebook Live about what questions to ask about your offer letter. If you're here because you have an offer letter currently or because you're beginning the interview process with us and you hope to have an offer letter soon, we're excited to have you here. If you want to start by dropping where you're listening in from in the chat, we would love to see where you're coming from, and we'll go ahead and get started.
Yeah.
My name is Kelsey. I'm our senior recruiter located here in Charlotte, North Carolina. I've been with Worldwide for 2 years. Actually, today is my 2-year anniversary. I've loved every minute of it. I think my favorite part is getting to talk with you nurses about different locations in the U.S. that I've lived in or visited in and being able to recommend them. And I'm here today with my co-host, Tyson Winters.
Thank you. Well, my name's Tyson Winters. I'm a recruiter based in Rexburg, Idaho office. And I've been with the company as well as 2 years now. And my favorite thing about helping nurses here is just helping you guys achieve your American dream and get to the U.S.
Awesome. Well, let's get started and with some of the questions that you might ask about your offer letter. Tyson and I are going to take turns asking each other these questions and giving you guys some really great answers. So Tyson, if I have a job offer, how is my wage calculated?
Yeah, so it's important to remember that Worldwide is a direct hire, meaning your wages are calculated by your employer that you get hired for. Please do not ask questions about the salary to your interviewer, as the interviewer won't have the exact answers to those. They're not the ones to calculate wages. Some factors to consider for wage calculation is years of experience in your unit and as a nurse, locations, prevailing wage, the cost of living in the city that you'll be going to, other hospital factors, and salaries are not always negotiable. That is important to talk to your recruiter to see if that hospital specifically negotiates wage or not. It's important not to compare offers with your friends, as it's not always helpful, as your offer is unique to you. Consider the whole offer, including the benefits, not just the salary. And then always remember to talk to your recruiter about the salary or cost of living.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, Kelsey, can I bring my family on a visa petition?
Absolutely, you can. And this is super important. It's a big transition to come to the U.S., and we want to make sure that you have the support that you need in this transition. You'll be able to add your spouse as long as you're legally married and your dependents as long as they're under the age of 21 to your visa petition. There's no additional charge to add them to your visa petition. You can add them as part of the immigration process. Now, if you want to bring your family later on, you want to come first and then your family comes a few months after that, talk with your case manager about how this process works. It's important to talk with your case manager at the beginning of the process about this option if you choose this opportunity.
And then Kelsey, how long is the immigration process?
Absolutely. So as we know, different visas have different timelines. Right now, the EB-3 process is taking about 18 to 24 months, and H-1B usually takes about 6 to 9 months. Both of these are dependent on the visa bulletin, which is issued by the U.S. government. So each hospital doesn't have different visa processing times, or each state. It's dependent on the visa bulletin. Visa retrogression, as you probably know, impacts these timelines, but providing your documents to your case manager quickly can help your process move faster. It's important to obtain your place in the visa processing line as soon as possible. Sometimes we hear people say, well, I want to wait until visa retrogression is over. And if that's the right move for you, then that's totally okay. But if you start your process now, you'll be able to begin the process and get your spot in the immigration line.
Absolutely.
Yep. Now, Tyson, what English exam is required for my immigration process?
That is a great question, and one question we get very often. So English exams vary by state. The most widely accepted one is TOEFL. Next most common is IELTS. Others like PTE, OET, MET vary by state, so that's always important to check with your recruiter on what states accept those. We offer support and coaching for any required English exams. So if you're ever nervous about taking IELTS or TOEFL, we have an English coach that can help you with that. Don't let the English exam stop you from accepting a great offer. We'll be able to provide you with the assistance and help that you need to be successful in that exam.
Absolutely.
Determine the optimal timing for your English exam is very important as well to make sure that the process runs smoothly.
Yep. And you can talk with your case manager about what that timing looks like. They'll be able to tell you when to begin the process.
Awesome. So, well, Kelsey, what should I not expect to see in my U.S. offer letter?
That's a great question. Sometimes things that you think are super important might not always be listed on your offer letter, and it's important to ask your recruiter about this. You don't want to say, well, just because I don't see shift differentials on there, maybe they don't offer it. Well, that's not always the case. Employers update their benefits annually. So sometimes additional benefits aren't included in the offer letter. It's really common here in the US for insurance, health insurance to change each year. So they won't always put things like that in your offer letter. You can ask your recruiter for the details on the relocation assistance, shift differentials, benefits, or reimbursements because every hospital offers different benefits. The exact shift assignment details, like what hours you're going to work or what days you're going to work, will be provided closer to your start date depending on the needs of the hospital. So you usually won't have that at the time of your initial offer letter. It's also important to confirm your visa type in your offer letter with your recruiter, making sure whether it's for an EB3, a green card, or H-1B as well. Again, talk with your recruiter about any questions that you have about the offer letter. And like Tyson mentioned earlier, it's super important to take the whole offer into consideration. Just because a salary might not be exactly what you're looking for, the hospital might offer a great sign-on bonus or great continuing education or great shift differentials. It's important to look at the whole package all at once. Now, real quick, I see a question about this, asking what if the offer is below the prevailing wage? All of our employers use the prevailing wage to determine your offer, so it is highly unlikely that your offer would be less than the prevailing wage. Okay, Tyson, what if I have questions about the unit I'm being assigned to? Who should I ask about that?
Yes, so this is an important question to ask your interviewer and your recruiter. The most important thing you can do in an interview is prep, because most likely your interviewer is working in that unit every day, so they have the best answers to those questions.
Awesome. What kind of questions should I ask in my interview?
Yeah, some great examples of what you can ask your interviewer is, what do you love about working in this facility or living in this area? Does this hospital offer mentorship or tuition reimbursement for continuing education? What is the orientation process like for new hires? How many beds does this facility have? What is your nurse to patient ratio? Do you already have international nurses working on this unit or in this hospital? And then what are your PTO and overtime policies? It's highly recommended that you ask your recruiter for any missed questions that you miss in your interview, but these are some great examples of what you can do to prepare for your interview to get more information.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, Kelsey, how long do I have the decision to make on my offer?
Absolutely. So once the offer is sent to you, most of your employers are going to give you 2 weeks to make a decision. We know that this is a huge decision to make. And so like Tyson mentions, it's important to do some research prior to your interview. But during this 2-week period, there's lots of things that you can do to make sure that this is the right offer for you. One of the most important things is to research the hospital and the city that you're going to be living in. You want to make sure that this is a good fit for you. If you're bringing a family, that they have good schools there. If you're coming with your spouse, that your spouse will be able to find a job there. And if you're not sure, there's a lot of information on the internet. Check with your recruiter. Your recruiter has probably some more personal information. Maybe they know someone that lives there. They've been to that location before, or they can direct you to send you a good website to help you learn some more. You can also search for Facebook groups of other international nurses in this area. Almost all of the hospitals we work with have some sort of Facebook group of their nurses. And another benefit, once you sign your offer, you'll get to be added to a Facebook group of nurses that are also going to that hospital. So you can compare resources and research and learn from each other. And one of the biggest things that we recommend as recruiters is to schedule a call with your recruiter. If you have a bunch of questions or you just want to talk through it, or maybe just get your recruiter's advice about your offer, ask them to set up a meeting with you to talk through it. Your recruiter would be more than happy to do that with you.
Awesome. And Kelsey, last question we have today. What does at will mean on my offer letter?
That's a good question. Most of the times in your offer, you're going to see that this is an at-will employment opportunity. In the US, all employees have rights and you're protected as an employee. This means that your decision to continue working with your employer is between you and your employer, no one else. So you and your employer are the ones that get to make decisions about whether or not you continue to work there, you decide to leave for another opportunity. If you have detailed questions about what this means for you, like we said, ask your recruiter about what this means. All right, now we'd like to open up for some Q&A. If you have questions about offer letters, about the immigration process or your recruiter, anything you want to know, drop it in the chat and we'll answer as many questions as we can. Let's take a look and see what some of the questions are that we've already had today. Let's see. I see a question from somebody asking about their application as an OR nurse. I believe that Carrie dropped the link to apply in the chat, so check out that link. You'll be assigned to a recruiter that's going to work directly with you and can help you out. I see a question about certified nursing assistants. We do hire nursing assistants. Our wait list is very long for those opportunities, but if you are interested, fill out an application on our website. An English exam is usually part of the visa screen process, but your recruiter can talk with you about that opportunity. We had a question about offers being below the prevailing wage. Like I mentioned, your offer should always be at or above the prevailing wage. If you think that it's not, talk with your recruiter about this and they can make sure to answer those questions for you. Let's see. I see a question about waiting for your priority date for your EB3 visa and asking if your salary will be readjusted. This depends on the hospital that you're working with. So if the prevailing wage increases before your arrival, there is the potential that your salary will be adjusted, but again, it depends on the hospital. I see a question about how to apply for a dialysis nurse. Again, you can apply on our website. The requirements differ by facility, right? And so talk with your recruiter about the opportunities. I see a question also about when can you add your dependents in the processing. It's best to add them as soon as possible, but you can add them throughout the process. Again, talk with your case manager about when you can add them. Am I missing any? Do you see any questions in here? Let's see. Ask this one. About pharmacists. We do hire pharmacists. Again, the qualifications depend on the facility. So fill out an application on our website. Talk with your recruiter about this. Ooh, yeah.
I see one here. What are the most common questions that the interviewer asks in an interview? So the interviewer is not looking for more like clinical-based questions. They're wanting to see if you would be a good fit on their team and their units and mesh well with the other nurses and patients.
Yeah.
And so the most common things they're going to ask are you a good team player? Are you able to problem solve? Things like that. And they're going to want to hear examples in your day-to-day nurse experience on how you can accomplish those things and answer those questions. That's a great question.
Absolutely. If you need more resources, ask to schedule a call with your recruiter or check out our YouTube page. I led a webinar a few months ago with some really great tips about that. So awesome question. About getting your labor certificate approved. Oh, that's my nurse, Ernest. Hi, Ernest. Thanks for joining today. Check with your case manager about your labor certificate. They're the ones that are going to have the most up-to-date information about that. I see a question here about the offer letter says they don't pay for the spouse and dependents. That means that if you had to file an additional petition for your dependents, they're not going to pay for that, but you can add your dependents to your petition at no additional charge. So that's what that language means. I see a question here about OET being accepted in North Carolina. Check with your recruiter or case manager about this. State boards are changing what English exams are accepted. So check with your case manager or recruiter about that. I see a question here about H-1B conversion. Typically, we aren't able to adjust an H-4 visa, but again, reach out to one of our recruiters. Everyone's situation is different. So it's important to talk with someone about that. A question from Leslie here. What if there's 2 assignment units written on the offer letter, but you don't have experience with one of the options? How can I change it before signing? So some of our employers do this, and this is a way to protect you and make sure that you have a job when you get here to the US. One of our employers is doing this currently with their offer letters, and really their plan is for you to be assigned to that first unit on your offer letter. The second unit is just listed as a way to protect you if that unit is full. It's very rare that happens. We've only seen that a handful of times. And so if they do move you to a different unit, they would provide you with the training. So you don't have to have experience in that second unit listed. You want to take this question, Tyson?
Yes. Can I apply even if I don't have recent bedside experience? So you're more than welcome to apply. I would talk to your recruiter about this. However, a lot of our hospitals right now, they require current bedside experience to interview. Mm-hmm. So I always say you're more than welcome to apply and start working and talking with that recruiter. That recruiter is just going to ask you to try to get back into that current bedside experience. And then just keep your recruiter updated, ask them questions. We love to hear from you guys and hear that communication.
Yep. I see questions here about hiring Nepalese nurses. We hire lots of Nepalese nurses. I also see a question about hiring med lab scientists. We do hire those as well. Again, apply on our website. Mm-hmm. I see some questions here about adding your dependents and covering the fees and attorney's fees. Yes, adding them to your visa petition is part of those attorney's fees that the employer covers. Mm-hmm. Ask your recruiter about the specifics of what that looks like for both of those. Filing the I-140 and the priority date depends on the employer. So talk with your case manager about what that timeline looks like. Let's see, we'll take a couple more questions today. Tyson, you want to answer this one here?
Yeah, so someone has asked, I've seen a few of these in here, must the nurse have passed the NCLEX? So for all RN positions to come to the US and work as an RN, you must have passed the NCLEX. Yeah. And that's something that your recruiter would ask in the very beginning of the process too.
Yeah. I see a question about reimbursing and sponsoring the NCLEX fees, IELTS fees, and visa fees. These are dependent upon the employer. Some of them reimburse for NCLEX and IELTS. All of them cover your visa fees to get to the US, and most of them reimburse for visa screen as well. All right. I see about asking for an update. Apply on our website and reach out to your recruiter. Like we've mentioned, everyone's case is a little bit different, and so we want to make sure to give you the answers that are pertinent to your situation. If you're interested in processing or beginning your application, apply on our website. Carrie dropped the application in the chat earlier, so you can find that there as well. All right, I think those are all the questions that we have today. Yep, there's the apply here link. If you haven't already applied, click that link there. That website also gives you phone numbers to our offices and other contact information. So if you say, well, I applied on your website and I haven't heard from anybody, you can get all of our contact information there.
Yep. And if you're unsure on who your recruiter is, there are emails and things you can use to contact and ask who your recruiter is.
Absolutely. We got a couple more slides here for you guys. The next one, like us on Facebook for immigration updates and new positions we have. We are all the time advertising for different employers that we're hiring for, talking about the visa bulletin. We offer dedicated English support. Every week we go live on Facebook to talk about English exams and helping you with that. We also highlight nurses that have arrived so you can see what the process looks like. Real quick, I see a chat from Xavier who has an interview tomorrow. Good luck in your interview. You're going to do great. Check out our tips that we've shared. And our final slides here, we have a great nurse referral program. If you'd like to refer a nurse friend, you can find that link here or on our website, and you can earn up to $250 for each NCLEX passer that you refer. And there's our contact information. If you want to get a hold of our recruiting team, talk to one of our amazing recruiters, you can reach us at recruiting@healthstaff.org and check out our website at www.healthstaff.org. Thank you so much for joining us today. We hope to see you on another Facebook Live soon.
Thank you.